Some say discovering you're pregnant is the most magical moment of a woman's life, the proof of a miracle. A moment of pure joy celebrated with laughter, happy tears, and loving hands reaching out to touch the life growing inside her. Sasha isn't sure that's true, at least not for her. When she stands in her small bedroom, staring at the pregnancy test on her dresser, she feels nothing but fear because she already knows how this will go. "I'm going to have a baby," she announces, keeping her gaze steady despite her uncle's darkening expression. A heavy silence stretches between them, thick and suffocating. "Is this some kind of joke?" Uncle Carl demands, his face flushing with anger. Aunt Rita is quicker to recover, her lip curling in contempt. "You are unmad," her voice drips with disgust. "How could you? Do you expect us to provide for this child? They say the happiest moment of a woman's life should be shared, but as Sasha expected, she has no one to share it with." "You're going to get rid of it," Uncle Carl declares, his tone leaving no room for argument. "No unmated female in this house will bear a child. The shame alone—" "I won't," Sasha interrupts, surprising even herself with the steel in her voice. "This is my child. I'm keeping it." Aunt Rita scoffs. "Then who's the father?" Her sharp gaze rakes over Sasha, searching for cracks in her resolve. "At least tell us that much. Even if he was just some random wolf who took pity on you, tell us who he is so we can demand he take responsibility. It's a reasonable question. A child is created by two people, carried by one, hopefully cherished by both. But Sasha's situation is different, impossible. Because it's not just that her child's father won't step forward to take responsibility. There is no father. There is no father, she says quietly. The room goes still. Her aunt and uncle exchange looks of contempt, clearly assuming she's being difficult. "There's always a father, you stupid girl," Aunt Rita snaps. Sasha meets her glare without flinching, her hand moving instinctively to her stomach. "Not this time," she says, voice steady. "Because I never had sex with anyone." Aunt Rita's jaw drops. They say the moment a woman discovers she's with child is the happiest of her life. But happiness feels different when there's no one to share it with, and different still when you have no idea how your child even came to be. Master Carl's fingers dig deep into Sasha's forearm. His sore, rage-filled scent grows more nauseating the longer they wait out here in the hall, and unfortunately, they've been waiting for a while now. Bile rises in Sasha's throat as years of enduring Carl's mutterings replay in her mind. "How dare you repay me like this?" he growls under his breath, pacing impatiently. The master stares stubbornly at the council chamber's massive oak door, willing it to open already. Beyond it sit the most important members of their pack, and amongst them, the alpha himself, the man who holds Sasha's fate and her baby's in his hands. He waits on his throne, only a few meters away, yet the distance feels insurmountable. Sasha swallows painfully, her throat tight with disbelief. She's about to meet her alpha, the one they call the Golden Alpha. The stories are legendary. How he claimed his position while still young, his unshackable poise, his cold precision in negotiations, and his reputation for ruthlessness. What will he do to someone like her? A nobody who broke pack law by carrying a child without a mate. "He's not taking my baby," Sasha thinks, determination rising despite the fear coiling in her chest. Her fingers instinctively reach for her collarbone, brushing bare skin where something should have been. The absence leaves her feeling strangely empty. "Beg for forgiveness," Aunt Rita hisses beside her, low and urgent. As Master Carl's mate, she knows the stakes far better than Sasha does. "Just beg. Don't say anything more. You're sorry, that's it." Sasha nods, though her mind races. At best, banishment awaits her. At worst, death. Her only hope is to ask the Alpha to let her leave. But survival as a rogue, that feels impossible. Everyone knows what happens to rogue as those cast out from pack protection. Hunted, violated, torn apart. For Sasha it would be even worse. She can't shift. She wouldn't last a day on her own, much less find another pack to take her in. Perhaps if her baby turns out to be a wolfess like her, there might be a chance to blend into human society. But if the baby inherits the wolf trait, a drop of sweat slides between her shoulder blades. "Look at me when I'm speaking to you." Aunt Rita's voice cuts through Sasha's panic. They share the same raven-black hair and steel-gray eyes, a resemblance Sasha inherited from her mother, one that Aunt Rita despises. "We took you in, fed you, clothed you, and this is how you repay our charity." Rita sneers before muttering bitterly, "Spreading your legs like a common. Sasha's cheeks burn, but her hand moves instinctively to her stomach, cradling it protectively. "I'm sorry for causing you shame," she whispers, the words hollow and rehearsed. Uncle Carl makes a disgusted sound deep in his throat. "If you had any real remorse, you'd do as we've told you and get rid of it." Sasha lifts her chin slightly, defiance blooming within her. "I regret the trouble I've caused you, Uncle," she says firmly, "but not my baby." The slap comes as expected, yet it still stings. Carl leans closer, his breath hot and sour. "The only reason you're still here is because of our generosity." The massive doors creak open, and Sasha jumps as a guard appears. His eyes slide over her with undisguised contempt. "The Alpha will see you now." Uncle Carl yanks her forward so violently that her shoulder threatens to dislocate. Leaning close, he growls into her ear. "You will keep your eyes down, your mouth shut, and do exactly as I say. 11 doesn't suffer fools, and his patience for disrespect is non-existent. Cross me in there, and I'll personally ensure you spend whatever remains of your pathetic existence wishing for death." They enter the chamber, larger than Sasha imagined. Its walls lined with stern-faced council members and curious onlookers. Whispers erupt the moment they step inside. "What's Lord Carl doing with a servant girl? Is that his niece?" Sasha's uncle sneered under his breath. "Wolf's niece. More like his worthless niece." The heat of shame crept up Sasha's neck, but she held her head high. Mockery was nothing new. Being a wolfess in a pack of shifters had marked her as less than nothing her entire life. "Keep moving," Carl growled, shoving her forward. She stumbled slightly and made the mistake of looking up. There he was, the Alpha. He sat on a throne of dark wood, his presence commanding the room effortlessly. Sasha's breath caught painfully in her lungs as his gaze locked onto hers. It wasn't just that he was beautiful, with features sharp as if carved from marble or eyes like crystal lakes framed by thick lashes. It was something deeper. For Sasha, who had endured scorn simply for existing, the weight of her insignificance crashed over her in waves. In his presence, the chasm between them felt unbearable. She was nothing, a wolfess, a lowly maid, and yet a strange ache bloomed in her chest, unfamiliar and rebellious. All her life, she'd accepted her place without question, never daring to want more. Staring at him, at the power radiating from his frame, and the intensity of his gaze, she found herself wondering what it would feel like to matter to someone like him. The thought startled her so much that she nearly gasped aloud. This was madness. She was nothing, he was everything. The distance between them might as well have been infinite. The moment stretched taut until Uncle Carl's hand slammed against the back of her neck. "On your knees before the Alpha," he barked, his voice echoing through the silent chamber. Her knees struck the cold stone floor hard enough to bruise. Though Sasha barely noticed the pain, even with her head bowed, she could feel the Alpha's gaze pressing down on her, heavy as a touch. His hands clenched on the arms of his throne, and Sasha wondered if he, like everyone else, found her very existence offensive. "You are with child," the Alpha noted, his voice calm and measured. His scent reached her then, forest after rainfall, clean and crisp, with hints of pine. It soothed her racing heart. "Yet, Alpha," she replied, inclining her head respectfully. The Alpha's expression remained unreadable. "And where is your mate?" There was kindness in his eyes as he asked. Something non-judgmental that took her aback. Kindness was rare, especially when offered without strings attached. People always judged her, and she assumed the Alpha would too, but not yet, it seemed. "I do not have one, Alpha," she said quietly, bracing herself. Confusion flickered across his face as murmurs erupted around the room. The Alpha asks about the father of her child. From the corner of her eye, she notices Carl tense beside her. Her uncle, Sasha's uncle, warns her, but she won't lie to her Alpha. "There is no father," she says, meeting his gaze. "There hasn't been anyone." Everyone in the room reacts with surprise except for Carl. "Girl, I don't need to explain to you how babies are made," the Alpha says slowly. Sasha blushes, feeling foolish as chuckles ripple through the room. She lowers her eyes. "I know how babies are made, Alpha," she replies. "But I've never had intimate relations. I don't know how I came to be pregnant." Stupefied whispers erupt again. She knows how this must sound, like she's refusing to admit her mistakes, but it's the truth. "You don't know." The Alpha tenses, his scent sharpening suddenly. The chamber feels suffocating, the walls pressing closer. "Lord Carl," the Alpha turns to her uncle. Have you opened an investigation into who could have done this to your maid? Sasha blinks. Why would there be an investigation? Investigation, Carl snorts. Alpha, I'm not wasting time and resources on a lying wolfess dumb enough to bed the first man to show her interest. Silence falls. The Alpha's eyes darken, his jaw clenching. The girl claims she doesn't remember, he states. That doesn't sound like she willingly laid with anyone. Carl pales. Obviously lying, Alpha. This girl is my late sister-in-law's child, a wolfess whose father abandoned her to my care. I've taken her in despite the toll on this house's reputation. I demand she be punished for her crimes. The Alpha snarls, his scent soaring with displeasure so potent that Sasha grimaces. She's abused while under your protection, and somehow she should be blamed, he snaps. Sasha startles at the word abusive. Her child isn't a child of abuse, it's without doubt a child of love. She doesn't know how she knows, but she's certain. Carl scoffs, pointing at Sasha. She's a stupid girl who made a stupid decision and still insists on keeping her bastard child. The Alpha pounds his fist on the table, making everyone cower. Insists, he asks dangerously. Why did she have to insist? Did you try to dissuade her? Carl pales at the quiet fury behind the words. Well, of course I did, Alpha. Having a child out of a mating bond means banishment at best, which is why I brought her here for judgment today. She refused. The Alpha snaps. I will look into who fathered the child. He will either take responsibility and take your maid as his mate, or suffer the consequences. As for Sasha, he turns, and Sasha holds her breath. This is the moment her fate will be decided: return to the family that wants her child gone or face something worse. The weight of her baby's future rests heavily on her shoulders. Until then, she may resume her service in your household, the Alpha declares, his voice carrying the finality of law. Sasha lowers her eyes, accepting her sentence. Banishment, not yet. I want her gone, Carl snaps, his voice slicing through her resignation. She's brought enough shame to my house. The room falls silent, everyone waiting for the Alpha's next words. Carl's smug expression falters as Vaugh rises from his seat, towering over them all. Fine, he says, turning to the crowd around the room. We just have to find her another job placement. Is anyone here in need of a new maid? The room remains stubbornly silent, and Sasha swallows audibly, not daring to meet anybody's eyes. Of course not. One of them will have her. Her uncle's contempt might have been cruel, but it isn't unfounded. No one wants the burden of a wolfess shifter in their home. Very well then, the Alpha sighs. Sasha's head jerks up in alarm. His words hang in the air as his eyes find hers. Until this matter is clarified, the Alpha concludes, Sasha will come work for me. Vaugh rubs the tense knot at the base of his neck, his temples throbbing with the beginnings of another headache. He checks his watch. Carl is making him wait deliberately, a petty act of defiance after being overruled in the council chamber. His wolf bristles with irritation when the girl finally arrives, escorted by a guard rather than Carl himself. Vaugh's jaw clenches, another subtle insult. Carl hadn't even bothered to bring her personally. Alpha, the guard bows low, pushing Sasha forward slightly. Lord Carl sends his regards. She keeps her gaze lowered, a small bag clutched tightly in her hands, likely all she owns. Thank you, Vaugh says, dismissing the guard with a nod. Once they're alone, he studies her more carefully. Her raven hair falls in waves past her shoulders, and though her gray eyes remain fixed on the floor, he remembers their startling clarity from earlier. Beneath her clean rain and wildflower scent, there's a persistent thread of fear. Come, he says, softening his voice. The car is waiting. She follows in silence, keeping precisely 3 steps behind him, the proper distance for a servant. It irritates him more than it chilled. In the council chamber, when their eyes had met, he'd seen something flare in her gaze, a brief spark before Carl forced her to her knees. The memory of how quickly it had been extinguished makes his headache intensify. At the car, the driver opens the door. Vaugh gestures for Sasha to enter first, but she hesitates, clearly confused. You want me to ride inside with you? Her voice is tinged with genuine surprise. Did you expect to be given your own? Vaugh teases. A flush colors her cheeks as she slides into the back seat. As the car pulls away, he notices her gripping her small bag like a shield. The council's whispers replay in his mind, the sneers, the judge, the protest when he announced she would have a place in his household, as if she were unworthy of even scrubbing his floors. His jaw tightens. One councilman had even implied he was hiring her as his. Is that why she's so quiet now, so careful around him? You'll be safe in my home, he said, breaking the silence. No one will harm you or your child is there. She glances up, surprise flickering across her features before quickly lowering her gaze again. Thank you, Alpha, she murmurs. There's something calming about her presence. Vaugh realizes a quietness that settles the constant restlessness of his wolf. It's soothing in a way he hasn't felt in a long time. Pain stabs through his temple, but he ignores it. I'd like you to see the pack doctor tomorrow, he says after a moment. Alarm flashes across her face. It's customary during pregnancy, he assures her. You should have regular checkups. He chooses his words carefully. It might help us understand your situation better. She tenses slightly. About that, Alpha, I know how it sounds, but I truly don't remember. I believe you, he interrupts gently. You do, and he means it. Sometimes when something traumatic happens, the mind protects itself by forgetting. Her brow furrows. But nothing traumatic happened to me, she insists. That gives him pause. Your scent changed when you said that, he observes. As if you're certain. She looks genuinely perplexed. I am certain. I would remember if someone. She trails off, unable to say the word. Vaughn leans back, studying her intently. The mystery deepens. If she wasn't assaulted. Then how does she explain her condition? The brightness of the passing lights forces him to close his eyes briefly. When he opens them, he finds her watching him. Are you unwell, Alpha? She asks. It's nothing, he dismisses, but Sasha interrupts. When my mother used to get headaches, she says softly, she would press here. She touches a spot on her own wrist between the tendons. It sometimes helped. V pretends not to hear. Just as he pretends his migraines don't exist. But to his surprise, her hand finds its way to his wrist, pressing against the spot. Like that, she says, focused. A small pinch between her brows. V wants to pull away, not because it isn't helping. It is, but because he doesn't want to look as though he needs help. Thank you, he says instead, surprised by the roughness in his voice. She nods, a ghost of a smile touching her lips before vanishing as they approach his estate. Vaugh realizes with some surprise that for the first time in months, his headache has begun to recede. Sasha can't stop berating herself for touching the Alpha without permission. Who did she think she was? Offering medical advice to the most powerful wolf in the territory. The car ride had ended in blessed silence, and upon arrival at his estate, the Alpha had excused himself for business, leaving her in the capable, if not entirely welcoming hands of his head housekeeper, Mrs. Winters. So, you're the wolfess girl the Alpha has decided to rescue, Mrs. Winters says, eyeing her like a particularly disappointing cut of meat. The way she says rescue makes it sound anything but noble. Sasha keeps her eyes down, hands folded at her waist. Yes, ma'am. Well, don't expect special treatment here, Mrs. Winters snaps, turning sharply. Her sensible shoes click against the marble floors. Sasha follows, though she can't help but be distracted by her surroundings. The area surrounding the Alpha's home is unlike anything she has ever seen. Gleaming floors, polished banisters, and gilded portraits of stern-faced wolves that she assumes are his ancestors. The difference between their worlds could not be more pronounced. He truly is a prince in his castle. Are you listening, girl? Mrs. Winters snaps. Of course, ma'am, Sasha replies quickly. You'll be assigned duties according to your abilities, limited as they may be. The older woman sniffs. Given your condition, you'll be kept away from any public areas where the family or guests might see you. They turn a corner, and Sasha nearly gasps at the sight of a grand staircase, an elegant sweep of marble that seems to float without support. This leads to the family wing, Mrs. Winters says, which you will not be entering. Finally, they reach the staff wing, where a young woman about Sasha's age is folding linens into a cabinet. Helen. Winters calls, this is Sasha. Find something useful for her to do while I determine the best placement for her. Helen looks up, bright and curious. She's pretty in a wholesome way, with honey brown hair pulled into a neat ponytail. Maybe she could help me prepare the dining room for tonight, Helen suggests. Winters makes a sound like she swallowed something sore. Absolutely not. She's wolfess. We can't have her visible. Perhaps the laundry room would be best. With that, she sweeps away, leaving Sasha with her new guide. Don't mind her, Helen says once they're alone. I'm Helen. Sasha offers a tentative smile. Let's get you settled. I'll show you your room first. They cross a small courtyard to the annex, a separate building where most of the staff live. Helen leads her to a tiny but clean room, a narrow bed, a small dresser, and a window overlooking a garden. The bathroom's shared down the hall, Helen explains, handing her a simple gray dress. Here's your uniform. Once dressed, Sasha follows Helen on a roundabout route through the estate's gardens, bursting with late summer blooms. Helen points out hidden paths the staff used to move quickly around the grounds before leading her back inside through a service entrance to the kitchens. Inside, the air is thick with heat and movement. At least a dozen people dart between counters and stoves, calling out orders and complaints. Delivery late again. Where's the saffron I asked for? If overcooks the lamb again, I'll kill him. No one pays them much attention as Helen leads Sasha through the chaos. Is it always this intense? Sasha asks. Only when we're expecting someone important, Helen smirks. So guests tonight? Not exactly, Helen lowers her voice. The mistress is coming. Nearby, a young man chopping vegetables snorts. She who must not be named, more like. Helen giggles. Don't let her hear you say that, Thomas. Turning to Sasha, Luna Alara is the Alpha's mother. She's still technically Luna until he takes a mate, and she has quite the reputation. An older woman nearby chimes in, wiping her hands on her apron. She's not so bad, just, don't look her in the eyes, will turn to stone. Sasha laughs despite herself just as a breathless maid rushes in, cheeks flushed. The Alpha smiled at me, she squeals. He asked if the West drawing room was ready for his mother's arrival. A chorus of sighs and groans follows. You're so lucky. Was he wearing the blue shirt? He looks divine in blue. Did he say my name? I left flowers in his room earlier. Helen rolls her eyes. Welcome to the Alpha Vaugh Appreciation Society. Meetings twice daily at least. The older cook shakes her head. Don't mind them, dear. The Alpha is friendly with everyone, nothing special about it. He was kind to me too. Sasha admits he was kind to me as well, then instantly regrets it as all eyes turn to her. Oh my God, one of the younger maids gasps dramatically. Even the new girl already has a crush on him. I do not, Sasha protests, her face burning. Helen drapes an arm around her shoulders. Sasha, how scandalous a taken, pregnant woman like yourself. The kitchen erupts in laughter, though it's good-natured rather than cruel. Maybe the Alpha's the father. Someone jokes, setting off another round of teasing. Sasha forces, though relief floods her when Helen finally steers her away toward the laundry room. She feels stupid for being so touched by the Alpha's kindness earlier. Clearly, it's just in his nature. As they pass through a cozy sitting room, Sasha pauses, noticing a grandfather clock with a long crack down its wooden case. What happened there, she asks. Oh, that, Helen says, following her gaze. One of Mistress A's cats knocked it over last year. He's her favorite, always causing trouble. Oh yes, Mr. Paddington, Sasha says, picturing a large orange tabby with a white chest and paws. Yes, that's, Helen tilts her head, frowning. Wait, how did you know that? Lucky guess, I suppose, Sasha said, reaching absently for her collarbone with her fingers, but grabbing onto nothing but air. In the laundry room, Sasha sorts linens carefully, following Helen's instructions. The work is simple enough, though the sheer volume of fine fabrics is overwhelming. Those go in the gentle cycle, Helen instructs, pointing to a stack of delicate pillowcases. Mrs. Winters will have your hide if anything gets damaged. Before Sasha can respond, the atmosphere shifts. A collective intake of breath comes from the workers. Shoulders straighten, hands move faster. Then she feels it, an unmistakable presence approaching. Not as commanding as the Alpha's, but powerful enough that even her wolfish body instinctively recognizes authority. Stand up straight, Helen hisses, smoothing her apron with trembling hands. Don't speak unless spoken to. The laundry room door swings open. Luna Alara doesn't enter so much as materialize. One moment the doorway is empty, the next she stands there perfectly poised, eyes sweeping the room with cool appraisal. Sasha has never seen anyone so elegant, tall and regal, platinum blonde hair pulled into an immaculate chignon, not a strand out of place. Her features are striking rather than pretty, high cheekbones, a straight nose, and crystalline blue eyes. Eyes as striking as her son's, though hers lack his warmth. Winters speaks with a melodic yet sharp tone, like the edge of a silver knife. The sheets in the East guest room were changed this morning. Miss Winters appears instantly, bobbing a quick curtsy. Yes, Luna. Fresh linens, lavender pressed, as you prefer, good. Alara's gaze sweeps the room. Staff members lower their eyes as she passes over them. The Alpha mentioned the gardeners have been cutting corners on the north lawn. See that it's addressed before. Her words cut off abruptly when her eyes land on Sasha. For the briefest moment, something like shock flickers across her face. She goes utterly still, the color draining as if she's seen a ghost. Sasha freezes. What did I do wrong? Then, just as quickly, the vulnerability vanishes. What, Alara says, each word precisely measured, is that doing here? The room tenses. Every gaze shifts to Sasha, who shrinks under the weight of their stares. Luna, Mrs. Winters. Alara asks, confusion evident. That girl. She gestures with one perfectly manicured finger. The wolfess one. Why is she in my house? Mrs. Winters wrings her hands. The Alpha brought her himself, Luna. I was instructed to find her duties. I want her gone, Alara snaps. But Luna, the Alpha, Mrs. Winters attempts. He is young and occasionally misguided in his charity. Alara cuts her off sharply. Her gaze locks onto Sasha, ice-cold and unyielding. Come with me. Sasha has no choice but to obey. She's marched from the laundry room, through the kitchen where staff scatter like startled birds, and into the main hall. Mrs. Winters hurries to catch up. Luna, please, the housekeeper protests. Perhaps we should wait. I want her belongings packed and her escort arranged within the hour, Alara states flatly. I don't care where she goes, but she will not remain here. Mrs. Winters hesitates, torn between two authorities. Finally she nods. As you wish, Luna. Girl, come with me to collect your things. Sasha follows in silence, still reeling. It takes mere minutes to gather her few possessions. As she shoulders her small bag, Mrs. Winters returns to escort her to the front entrance. They're crossing the main hall when a now familiar voice cuts through the tension. What's going on here? Alpha Vaughn stands at the foot of the grand staircase, his expression unreadable as he takes in the scene. Behind him, Alara emerges from an adjacent room. Her face transforms instantly from irritation to warm, effortless charm. Vaugh, darling, she calls, floating toward him with a radiant smile. She accepts his cheek kiss, though his focus remains on Sasha and her bag. What's happening? Before Sasha can speak, Alara smoothly interjects. A small misunderstanding, dearest. I was just explaining to Winters that perhaps the girl would be better suited elsewhere. Elsewhere. Vaugh's brow furrows. She has no wolf, darling, Alara says lightly, as if explaining something obvious. Hardly appropriate for household staff. What would people say? Vaughn's jaw tightens. I hired her. Mother. Yes, Alara replies, her tone dripping with condescension, and that's very charitable. Alara pats his arm indulgently but mentions their allies, questioning how they would react if they visited and found such a girl among their staff. V's voice sharpens despite remaining level. Sasha, put your bag down. You're not going anywhere. Alara's smile doesn't waver, though her eyes darken. Vaugh, she says, lowering her voice, be reasonable. What possible use could she serve here? We have more than enough staff. The Alpha's tone brooks no argument. Unpack your things and return to whatever duties Miss Winters assigned you. Sasha nods quickly, relief and confusion warring inside her as she turns to leave. Vaugh adds, addressing Mrs. Winters, and ensure Sasha sees the pack doctor tomorrow morning. Yes, Alpha, Mrs. Winters replies, ushering Sasha toward the service corridor. Before they're out of her shot, Sasha hears Vaugh's voice drop, urgent but firm. She's pregnant, mother, and the father is nowhere to be found. I suspect she was abused. Alara's head snaps toward Sasha. Their eyes meet across the hall, and for the second time, color drains from the Luna's perfect complexion. Pregnant, Alara whispers, her voice barely audible. Yes, Fawn continues, and she claims not to remember how it happened, which suggests trauma, possibly. We have no need for extra servants, Alara interrupts. Her voice suddenly weak and trembling, nothing like the imperious woman from moments ago. I could find a placement for her elsewhere, she says hastily. Perhaps with the Thompsons. That would be helpful, Vaughn concedes. But until then, she has nowhere to go, so she'll remain here. Alara says nothing more. But as Sasha follows Mrs. Winters away, she feels the Luna's gaze on her intense, calculating, and tinged with something else. Something that feels almost like resentment. 1 month later, Vaugh sits at the head of the council table. his expression unreadable as Lord Reynolds drones on about territory disputes at the northern border. With all due respect, Alpha, Reynolds says, the Miller pack is clearly testing our boundaries. Vaugh keeps his hands flat on the polished oak table, hiding the faint tremor. The migraine that began at dawn now pulses behind his left eye. Their Alpha has already apologized, he replies, his voice steady despite the ache. Young wolves, newly shifted, they got carried away during the hunt. And you believe that excuse? Lord Keller scoffs. Your father would have demanded blood price for such disrespect. The room stills. My father's methods secured our territory, Vaugh acknowledges. Mine will expand it. I've negotiated access to the eastern waterways in exchange for overlooking this misunderstanding. A shift in the air, skepticism turning to reluctant approval. The treaty will be signed at the full moon gathering, Vaugh continues, rising to signal the meeting's end. Unless there's anything else. The council bows their heads in deference as they file out, but Vaugh doesn't miss the sidelong glances. He's kept peace for 3 years where his father waged endless war, doubled the pack's wealth through alliances rather than conquest, and still, some long for the old ways. The old ways are often best, but his mother's voice slices through the quiet as she enters from a side door. Vaughn's straight, masking his exhaustion. Reynolds is predictable, he says. Yara studies him, her head tilted. I've been thinking about what we discussed, she says. The Mere Pack's daughter isn't the only suitable candidate for Luna. Vaughan suppresses a sigh. Not this again, mother. The Blake Pack has 2 daughters of age, both accomplished and beautiful, she insists. I don't have time for this, Vaughan snaps, exciting the room. A powerful mate strengthens alliances, Alara continues, following him. I've arranged interviews with 3 suitable candidates next week. The thought of formal meetings while battling these migraines makes his stomach turn, but he recognizes the strategic necessity. A mate would silence those questioning his authority. Fine, he concedes, hoping to end the conversation. Send me their profiles beforehand, Alara smiles. Victoria, of course, darling. Then, as if in passing, she adds, and I've arranged a position for the Wolfus girl with the Hansen pack. We could send her tomorrow, Vaughan stills. Send her tomorrow, so soon. She stays, he declares. My investigation into her situation isn't complete. We still don't know who the father of her child is, and I'm not comfortable letting her go where she might not be protected should he turn up. It's been a month, Vaughan, Lara reminds him. If no one has claimed responsibility by now, she stays, he growls, his voice brooking no argument. His wolf stirs beneath his skin. Though he keeps his eyes from flashing, Alara studies him, unreadable, then sighs. As you wish. A pause. But consider how it looks to have a pregnant, unmated wolfess in your household while you meet potential mates. Without waiting for his response, she glides from the room, leaving Varn alone with the pounding in his skull and the unshakable certainty that Sasha belongs under his protection. Whatever the cost to his reputation. A month into her new position, Sasha has found her rhythm within the Alpha's household. The initial hostility from some staff members has faded, replaced by cautious acceptance, something that almost feels like belonging. This morning, she moves through the east wing with quiet efficiency, dusting shelves in the library when a flutter stirs inside her. She stills, instinctively resting a hand on her slightly rounded belly. Hello, you, she whispers, a soft smile spreading across her face. The first movements of her child, light as butterfly wings, bring warmth to her heart. Helen appears in the doorway. Mrs. Winters needs someone to change the linens in the Alpha's quarters. Nana's out sick. A different kind of flutter not from the baby passes through Sasha. The Alpha's personal rooms, she asks, keeping her voice neutral. Don't worry, he should be in meetings all day, Helen assures her. Just be quick about it. 10 minutes later, Sasha stands outside his door, fresh linens in her arms. She knocks softly, no answer. She tries again, a little louder. Still nothing. Taking a deep breath, she hesitates before reaching for the handle. Carefully, she pushes the door open. Darkness greets her. The heavy curtains are drawn, allowing only the faintest sliver of daylight to seep through. She hesitates at the threshold, her eyes slow to adjust. Hello, she calls softly, stepping inside and closing the door behind her. As her vision clears, the Alpha's chamber gradually takes shape, a vast space dominated by a massive 4-poster bed, its rumpled sheets disturbed on only one side. A small, intimate detail that makes him seem more human somehow. Then she hears it, a low, pained whine from the far corner. A massive shadow shifts near the window, not a shadow, but a wolf, silvery gray fur, impossibly large, his body curled into itself, massive head resting on his paws. Even in the dim light, she sees the tension in his posture, the way his ears flatten against his skull. Sasha freezes, linens clutched to her chest. Shifters rarely take wolf form indoors. Something is wrong. She takes a hesitant step forward. The wolf's head snaps up, ice-blue eyes locking onto hers. A warning growl rumbles through the room, vibrating in her bones. "Alpha," she whispers. He rises, shoulders hunched, hackles raised. Another growl, deeper this time, teeth flashing a clear message. "Get out." "I came to change your linens," she stammers, gesturing weakly with the bundle in her arms. Before he can respond, Mrs. Winter's voice cuts through the hallway. "Sasha, are you in there? Is everything all right?" The wolf stiffens, his ears swiveling toward the door. His growl turns silent but more dangerous, lips curling back in warning. Understanding clicks into place. He doesn't want to be seen like this. Moving swiftly, Sasha steps back to the door, opening it just enough to show her face. "Everything's fine, Mrs. Winters," she says, forcing calm into her voice. "I was just deciding where to start. The curtains are drawn and I didn't want to disturb anything." Mrs. Winters huffs. "Yes. Making a bed is quite the complex affair," she deadpans. "Be quick about it and don't snoop." "Of course, ma'am." Off the housekeeper's footsteps fade. Sasha closes the door and turns back. The wolf is still standing tense, but the immediate aggression has ebbed. Now he watches her with wary intensity. "You're in pain," she says softly, recognizing the signs, the way he holds his head, the slight tremble in his massive frame. Like that day in the car, a migraine. The wolf snorts and turns away, a clear dismissal. "Shifters don't get sick," she insists, worried. His response is sharp, a snarl, teeth flashing. "Back off." But Sasha has spent her life reading wolves, forced to observe since they rarely deigned to speak to a wolfish girl like her. Beneath the aggression, she sees it, vulnerability, fear. "You don't want anyone to know," she murmurs. "Because an alpha can't show weakness." The wolf goes very still. "I could fetch the doctor," she offers. A ferocious growl rattles the room, sending her heart racing. The message is unmistakable. "No one can know. I understand," she says quietly. "And I promise no one will hear of it from me." A thick silence fills the room, settles between them. Alpha and servant, wolf and wolfess. "I could bring you some tea," she offers, then realizes how ridiculous that sounds. "Or maybe there's another way I can help." His blue eyes watch her warily, pain evident despite his attempts to mask it. "Please," she says, "let me try." After a long moment, he exhales deeply and closes his eyes, not agreement exactly, but not refusal either. "I'll be right back." When Sasha returns with a bowl of cool water and clean cloths, the wolf hasn't moved. His breathing is shallow, rhythmic with pain. She sets the bowl nearby. "Alpha," she says softly. One blue eye opens. "May I?" she asks, hesitating. A pause, then a nearly imperceptible dip of his massive head. Heart pounding, Sasha kneels beside him and dips a cloth in the cool water. Carefully she presses it to his brow. The wolf flinches, a low growl rumbling through him, but as the coolness seeps in, it fades. Encouraged, she places another cloth at the back of his neck where his skull meets his spine. Another deep exhale. "My mother had terrible headaches," she murmurs. Sometimes they were so bad she couldn't bear to be touched, but the cold helped. As she speaks, her fingers work gently, massaging the tense muscles at the base of his skull. His fur is thick and soft beneath her touch. The wolf doesn't move, barely breathes, until she finds a particularly sensitive spot. His whole body shudders, a sound escaping him that's somewhere between a groan and a sigh. "There?" she asks. He presses slightly into her hand. "Yes," she continues, slow and deliberate. Bit by bit, the massive wolf melts beneath her hands, tension draining from his powerful frame. Minutes pass in silence. Then, so gradually she almost misses it, a change begins. His fur shimmers, receding. The broad shape of his wolf form shrinks, shifting bones realign, snapping softly into place. Sasha gasps, pulling back as Vaugh kneels before her, human again, completely naked. His muscled form gleams in the dim light, his breath still unsteady from the shift. Her face burns. She fumbles for a cloth, thrusting it toward him. "Alpha, your eye should," she stammers, trying not to look. Vaugh, unconcerned with his nudity, regards her through heavy-lidded eyes still clouded with pain. Don't stop, he rasps. Please. Swallowing hard, Sasha drapes the cloth over his lap, her fingers brushing his thigh for the briefest moment. A spark shoots through her and she quickly looks away. She hesitantly returns her hands to his temples, working gently. A groan slips from him, deep and quiet. Thank you, Sasha, he murmurs, voice low, almost intimate. Their eyes meet. The air thickens, charged with something unspoken. Later that afternoon, Mrs. Winters summons Sasha to her office, her expression bewildered. The Alpha has requested you be reassigned, she announces. Effective immediately. You'll serve as his personal attendant. Me. Sasha blinks in confusion, her cheeks warming at the memory of their encounter. But I'm incontinent pregnant. Yes. I made those points quite clear, Mrs. Winters replies. Nevertheless, the Alpha was most. Sasha feels an insistent presence as she leaves the office. Her hand drifts to her belly, where the baby flutters again, almost as if in approval. Darkness surrounds her, thick, velvety, and warm. She feels him before she sees him. Strong arms wrap around her, a solid chest pressing against her back. Warm breath skates along the curve of her throat, followed by the slow, deliberate scrape of teeth. Her lips part in a soft gasp as his hands move over her, slow and reverent, mapping her as if he's done it 1,000 times before. Sasha's fingers twitch, and a large hand finds hers, intertwining their fingers, holding her steady. The touch is gentle but unyielding, his grip an unspoken plea. Stay with me. Her body responds on instinct, attuned to him, the weight of his body, the rough drag of his calloused fingers against her skin. Vaugh, she whispers, her voice trembling with need. A growl rumbles deep within his chest, his blue gaze locking onto hers. My mate, he breathes. She barely has time to gasp before his lips claim hers, his hands burrowing in her hair. He drinks her in like he's been starving for her. A whimper rises in her throat, his taste, his touch, the way his body presses flush against hers. The world shrinks to nothing but him. His lips trail lower, pressing reverent kisses along the column of her throat. When he reaches the curve of her shoulder, Sasha tilts her head, baring her neck in silent invitation. A deep, shuddering breath escapes him, then his mouth seals over her skin, and something inside her ignites. Pleasure crashes through their bond, roaring to life. His emotions bleed into hers, his happiness, his desire, his love tangling with her own. It's too much, not enough, everything. Her fingers find the mark on his neck, her mark, and trace it with trembling reverence. He shudders against her, his arms tightening as if she might slip away. Light bursts behind her eyelids, and she wakes with a gasp, his name on her lips. Oh gods, she whispers into the darkness of her small room. She presses her hands to her burning cheeks, mortification flooding through her. She just had a dream, an intensely erotic dream about the Alpha, her employer, the most powerful wolf in the territory. What is wrong with me? She groans, sitting up. The clock reads just past D in the morning. Her baby kicks suddenly. At nearly 6 months, there's no mistaking her condition now. Her rounded belly has become her most defining feature. Can't sleep either, huh? She whispers, wiping at her tears. I guess I should get you used to it soon. You'll be waking me up to eat every couple of hours. The dream lingers in her mind despite her efforts to banish it. It had felt so real, the way she'd known exactly how to touch Vaugh, how his body would respond, the mark on his neck that had somehow belonged to her. A sob rises in her throat, sudden and overwhelming. Pregnancy has made her emotions raw and exposed, but this feels different, a deep, visceral grief for something she can't even name. I'm so desperate for my baby to have a father, she whispers, her voice breaking under the weight of longing. I'm dreaming about the Alpha, she tells herself bitterly. The thought only makes her cry harder. Who even is her baby's father? Why can't she remember? What will she tell him when he grows up and asks after a man Sasha doesn't know? Unable to bear the confines of her small room, she slips from bed, needing air, space. The gardens are peaceful at night. Moonlight bathes the flowers in silver. Sasha finds her usual stone bench, partly hidden. Then heaving sobs rack her body as months of fear and uncertainty pour out of her. Her arms wrap protectively around her belly as she rocks back and forth. I'm sorry, she whispers to her unborn child between sobs. I'm sorry I don't know who your father is. I'm sorry I'm all you have. She's so consumed by her grief that she doesn't hear the approaching footsteps until a voice cuts through her cries. Sasha. She looks up, startled and mortified to find Vaugh standing before her. His hair is disheveled, his chest bare beneath an open shirt. The sight of him, so similar to her dream, makes her flush with embarrassment. "Alpha," she stammers, hastily wiping her tears. "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to." Before she can finish, Vaugh is beside her. "What's wrong?" he asks, his voice low and urgent. "Is it the baby?" Sasha shakes her head, unable to speak through her tears. She tries to compose herself, to remember her place, but another sob escapes her instead. Strong arms wrap around her. The action is unexpected, probably inappropriate, but Sasha can't resist. She collapses against her Alpha's chest, her tears soaking his skin. "Sasha," he soothes, one hand stroking her hair. "It's all right. You're safe." His body is warm, solid, real, nothing like the phantom lover from her dreams. "I'm sorry," she manages between diminishing sobs. "I don't know what's come over me." "Don't apologize," he murmurs, his chin resting atop her head. "Whatever it is, we'll fix it. The simple promise, not you." But we brings fresh tears to her eyes, but these are gentler, almost relieved. "It's nothing that can be fixed," she admits. "I was just thinking about my baby growing up without a father, about how I can't even remember who he was." Vaugh's arms tighten around her. "You still don't remember anything?" he asks gently. "Nothing real," she says, thinking of her dream with a flush. "I feel so incomplete. Like I'm missing something vital, something I should remember." "Perhaps it's for the best," Vaugh says softly. "Sometimes what we forget is what would hurt us most to remember." They sit in silence for a few moments, his hand continuing its soothing path along her back. Gradually, Sasha becomes acutely aware of their position, her body pressed against his bare chest warm beneath her cheek. She doesn't want to move away. She won't. "What are you doing out here so late?" she asks instead. Vaugh sighs, the sound rumbling through his chest. "Insomnia," he confesses reluctantly. Sasha pulls back slightly to look at his face in the moonlight. The shadows under his eyes are more pronounced, his features drawn with exhaustion. "The headaches?" she asks. "Just stress, probably," he replies. Before she can argue, the moment stretches, fragile and heavy with unspoken words. The baby kicks hard against her belly where V's side presses against hers. His eyes widen in surprise. "Was that?" Sasha nods, smiling without thinking, and takes his hand, placing it on the spot where her child is most active. "Here," she says. Wait a moment. For several heartbeats, nothing happens. Then the baby kicks again, and Vaughn's expression shifts to something possessive, almost primal. His hand spreads wider across her belly, as if trying to cover as much of it as possible. Sasha bites back a moan. "My baby likes you," she whispers before she can stop herself. Vaughan doesn't laugh or pull away as she expects. Instead, his eyes darken, his gaze dropping to where his hand rests on her rounded belly. "I'm glad," he says quietly. Vaugh is reviewing yet another trade proposal when movement outside his office window catches his eye. It's Sasha, crossing the courtyard toward the servants' entrance carrying something, an old bicycle. Before he fully processes what he's doing, Vaugh is on his feet, striding outside. "What do you think you're doing?" His voice comes out sharper than intended. Sasha startles, nearly dropping the bike. "Did you need anything, Alpha?" she asks, concerned. "I'm sorry," she adds quickly. "I have some time off this morning for my doctor's appointment." "You were just about to ride that death trap to town." Vaugh interrupts, horrified. Sasha's cheeks flush. Nearly 6 months pregnant now, she practically glows, her body softly rounded with new life. "It's only 3 miles, and the weather is nice," she explains. 3 miles! His voice rises in disbelief. "You're 23 weeks along." Several gardeners pause, watching their exchange with interest, but Vaugh doesn't care. "It's just a doctor's appointment," Sasha says, trying to be reasonable. "My driver will take you," he insists, shifting on his feet. "In fact, I'll accompany you myself." "That's really not necessary," she protests weakly. "I insist." He takes the bicycle from her hands, passing it to a nearby groundskeeper. "We'll leave in 10 minutes. As he strides back inside to grab his jacket, Vaugh congratulates himself on being a considerate employer. It's his duty to ensure the well-being of his staff, after all. Though he hadn't been informed of Sasha's appointment beforehand, the least he can do now is ensure she and her child are healthy and protected. That's what any Alpha would do. Still, he's vaguely offended no one told him about the appointment. How is he supposed to ensure her safety if he's kept in the dark? And riding that ancient bike down country roads wouldn't be good for the baby. His thoughts stumble as an unbidden question rises. What will the child look like? Will they have Sasha's storm gray eyes or his blue ones instead? Alpha, a voice calls. He turns to find Sasha watching him, ready to go. You really don't need to come with me, she says hesitantly. I'm sure you have more important matters to attend to. Not at all, he lied. Though it doesn't feel entirely false anymore. Concerned for a vulnerable pack member, that's all. Then her scent shifts, warm vanilla and honey. Pleasure awakening something primal within him. It doesn't fade, especially when they're seated together in his car. He's hyper-aware of her every movement. The way she strokes her belly absently, the soft hum she makes when the baby kicks. His fingers tighten on the steering wheel, resisting the urge to reach over and feel those movements beneath his palm. Are you comfortable? I can adjust the temperature. I'm fine, she assures him. He adjusts it anyway. At the clinic, he remains standing as she settles onto the examination table, his body angled protectively between her and the door. Everything looks good, the doctor says, measuring her belly. Right on track. Before she can ask, is it developing properly? The doctor preps the ultrasound machine. His throat tightens when the sound of a heartbeat fills the room, a rapid, rhythmic ooshing. It's quite strong, he manages, voice rough. Sasha meets his gaze, surprised. Without thinking, he takes her hand, their fingers twining together. I'll give you two a moment while I fetch the printouts, the doctor says, slipping from the room. Alone, he's acutely aware of their connection, her hand in his. The lingering sound of her child's heartbeat, the sweet scent of her happiness mingling with his own. Would you like to go shopping after this? He asks suddenly. For the baby. His rational mind protests, and Alpha doesn't take servants shopping, send an assistant, have Mrs. Winters handle it. But the thought of anyone else providing for her, caring for her, makes his wolf bristle with possessive anger. Sasha, sweetheart, you've already done so much, she begins, but he interrupts, softer this time. Please. She hesitates, then nods, lips curving into a smile that makes his heart stutter. They spend the afternoon in a whirlwind of baby boutiques. He buys everything she shows even the slightest interest, in tiny clothes in soft yellows and greens. A handcrafted wooden cradle, plush toys she strokes with wondering fingers. Each time she protests, something fierce rises in him, a need to provide. To ensure she wants for nothing. It's primal, overwhelming, almost frightening. By lunch, his phone buzzes with a reminder of the council meeting he's missing. He ignores it. Would you like to look at some clones for yourself? He suggests. Something more comfortable than those uniforms. His gaze travels over her, the fullness of her breasts, the curve of her hips, the proud swell of her belly carrying new life. Heat coils in his stomach. Do I look that bad? She asks, lowering her eyes. You're gorgeous, he corrects, satisfaction flaring when her lips part in a surprised little gasp. By late afternoon, the car is filled with packages. She protests each purchase. But her delight is evident the way she touches each item. The sweetness of her scent, the soft thank yous she offers. This is becoming an obsession. He acknowledges as he adds yet another bag to their growing collection. As they cross the parking lot toward his car, Vaugh notices Sasha tense beside him. Her steps faltering slightly. What's wrong? He asks, immediately alert. Nothing, she says, but her eyes dart to a point over his shoulder and then quickly away again. Vaugh turns, scanning the area, but sees only the usual afternoon shoppers moving between vehicles. Sasha, he presses, tell me. She hesitates, then sighs. There's a girl who seems to be following us, she admits. I've noticed her several times throughout the day in different stores. Vaugh's protective instincts flare instantly. Where? By the blue sedan, 3 rows over, Sasha says quietly. Strawberry blonde, blue eyes, wearing a baseball cap. It might be a coincidence, but she keeps looking at us, and something feels wrong. Vaugh follows her gaze, immediately spotting the young woman leaning against a car, her attention fixed unabashedly on them. When she realizes Vaugh is looking back, her eyes widen briefly, but she doesn't look away or attempt to hide. Stay here, he tells Sasha, already striding toward the stranger. Vaugh, wait, Sasha calls, hurrying after him. The girl straightens as they approach, neither fleeing nor appearing particularly intimidated. She's human. Vaugh notes no wolf scent about her, which makes her interest in them all the more puzzling. Is there a reason why you're staring at her? Vaugh demands, gesturing to Sasha, who has caught up and placed a restraining hand on his arm. The girl holds his gaze, seeming to consider her response. Yes, she says eventually. Vaugh fights down a growl. Well, what is it? He asks, voice sharp. The girl briefly glances at Sasha. She's hot, she replies with a shrug. Vaugh and Sasha both freeze in surprise. You're a lucky guy, the girl adds, a hint of challenge in her blue eyes. Can I go now? Big guy. Without waiting for an answer, the girl walks away, hands in pockets, disappearing among the parked cars. That was a bit much. Don't you think? Sasha says once the girl is gone. She was just a human, I suppose, Vaugh conceded, suddenly aware of a sharp pain building behind his eyes. The afternoon sun seems too bright, the parking lot tilting oddly around him. Vaugh, Sasha's voice comes from far away. What's wrong? Nothing, he tries to say. But the words slur slightly. Black spots dance across his vision, his headache pounding with vicious intensity. The world spins abruptly, and he finds himself leaning heavily against the side of a car, stomach heaving. He's vaguely aware of Sasha beside him, her cool hand on his brow, her voice soothing in his ear. He wishes suddenly, desperately, that this woman, this child, this life was truly his. But something is wrong with him. The headache is, the tremors, the cold sweats. The truth is he isn't fit to mate with anyone. When his vision clears momentarily, he catches sight of the blonde human watching them intently from a distance. Their eyes meet briefly before another wave of pain crashes over him, forcing him to close his eyes. Sasha watches Vaugh from the doorway of his study, her concern deepening with each passing day. He sits at his desk, shoulders hunched, fingers pressed to his temples, though he tries to hide it. His condition is worsening. This morning, his hand trembled so badly he couldn't hold his teacup, and the other day at the mall, he'd almost passed out. Is there anything else you need, Alpha? She asks softly. He straightens immediately, forcing a smile that doesn't reach his eyes. No, thank you, Sasha. I'm fine. The lie hangs between them, familiar and frustrating. Perhaps I could call a healer, she suggests. That won't be necessary, he cuts her off gently but firmly. Just a headache. Nothing to worry about. But Sasha does worry. His symptoms nag at her, tugging at the edges of a memory she can't quite grasp, the headaches, the tremors, the insomnia. He refuses to acknowledge them, but she knows they plague him. That night, as she prepares for bed, the memory finally surfaces, her mother. In the months before her death, pressing her fingers to her temples just as Vaugh does now, hands shaking as she brushed Sasha's hair. The days when she couldn't rise from bed at all. The realization slams into her. It can't be, she whispers, heart pounding. But the parallels are too strong to ignore. Her mother had wasted away. The healers murmured about a broken bond, a mate who left. Sleep eludes her by morning. She knows what she must do. I need to visit my aunt, she tells Mrs. Winters, the housekeeper. The woman's eyebrows rise. After how they treated you, I thought you'd want nothing more to do with them. It's important. Just for a few hours, Sasha insists. Mrs. Winters sighs and arranges for a driver. The house where Sasha spent her childhood looks smaller, the paint peeling, the garden overgrown. She steels herself before knocking. Rita answers, her eyes widening before narrowing with suspicion. What are you doing here? She demands. Carl will have a fit if he sees you. Is at work, Sasha replies. She timed her visit carefully. I need to speak with you, Rita. Rita hesitates, then steps aside. Make it quick. The living room is exactly as Sasha remembers, the same worn furniture, the same faded photographs, but she is different now, stronger. Well, need to ask about my mother, Sasha says. Rita stiffens. What about her? Her death. What happened before? Her aunt's lips press into a thin line. If you're looking for an inheritance, you're wasting your time. She left nothing but debts and a child I had to raise. The barb slides off Sasha. I was 5 when she died. My memories are incomplete. I need to know what happened. Rita turns, straightening a picture frame that doesn't need straightening. Silence stretches between them. When Rita finally speaks, her voice holds an edge of pain. Why dig this up now? What good will it do? Sasha studies her, surprised to see grief behind the hostility. I didn't think you cared that much. She was my baby sister, Rita snaps. And I'm her daughter, Sasha replies evenly. Yet you never showed an ounce of affection toward me. Because you took her from me. Rita's voice cracks with fury. The words hang heavy between them. She was a talented shifter, a good mate. Hers should have been a happy match. Rita's jaw clenches. But she had approaches his private chambers. Alpha she calls. Vaugh. Silence. Her heart pounds as she tries the handle. The door swings open. The room is dark, curtains drawn against the afternoon sun. Even in the dimness, she can make out his form on the bed, unnaturally still. Vaugh, she whispers, rushing to his side. His skin is hot to the touch, his breathing shallow. When she lifts his eyelids, his pupils are dilated, unfocused. The fever stage has begun. Sasha, Vaugh. Sasha's voice breaks as she shakes his shoulder. Vaugh, please wake up. His skin burns beneath her touch, his breathing shallow and labored. Please, she whispers, tears spilling down her cheeks. She brushes damp hair from Vaughn's forehead, desperate. She does the only thing her racing mind can think of and presses her lips to his. It's not a calculated decision, just pure instinct. When she pulls back, V's eyelids flutter, a soft groan escaping him. Sasha, he rasps, his voice rough, confused. Relief crashes through her so powerfully she sobs. You're awake. She helps him sit up, supporting his back as he moves. He winces, one hand going to his temple, the other steadying himself on the mattress. What happened? He asks, blinking. You tell me, Sasha says, wiping tears from her cheeks. I know your secret. I know why you're sick. He stares at her, genuinely confused. What secret? Please don't lie anymore, she implores, taking his hands in hers. My mother died from bonding sickness. It's killing you just like it killed her. Your mother? Vaugh frowns. Bonding sickness. You need to reunite with your mate, Sasha continues, frantic. Where is she? Why are you separated? Whatever happened between you, it can't be worth your life. Vaughn's expression shifts from confusion to concern. Sasha, he says gently, I don't have a mate. Of course you do, she insists. The symptoms are identical to my mother's. Sasha, he interrupts, taking her hand. I swear to you, I have never taken a mate. No hint of deception in his gaze, only genuine concern for her, remarkably, despite his own suffering. No mate, she echoes, bewildered. I think I'd remember something that's significant, he says, a weak smile tugging at his lips. Sasha sits back, mind racing. But the symptoms, she insists. They're exactly the same. Vaugh shakes his head. Perhaps it's something else entirely, a coincidence. But whatever it is, it's serious. It's settled, Sasha says firmly. Enough is enough, Vaugh. You're seeing a healer today. Right now, no more hiding it. Before he can protest further, Sasha presses her lips to his again. This time it's deliberate, purposeful. His surprise lasts only a heartbeat before he's responding, one hand sliding into her hair to draw her closer. When she retreats, breathless, a hint of color has returned to his cheeks. What was that for? He asks. Motivation, she says shakily. His answer is to pull her back to him, his mouth finding hers with newfound urgency. This kiss is deeper, hungrier, months of unspoken longing poured into a single connection. Sasha melts against him. All thoughts of healers and illness momentarily forgotten. Her hands move to his chest, feeling the strong beat of his heart beneath her fingertips. His own hands roam her back, her sides, drawing her closer into his lap. We shouldn't, she murmurs against his lips. You need a healer. I need you, he countered, trailing kisses down the sensitive column of her throat. I feel better already. And strangely, he does look better, color returning to his face, strength to his movements. Vaugh, she gasps as his teeth graze the juncture of her neck and shoulder. We need to stop thinking, he murmurs against her skin. His hands find the buttons of her blouse, deftly unfastening them one by one. He kisses her deeply as the fabric falls away, his eyes darkening as they take in the sight of her. His gaze travels over her changed body with reverence rather than hesitation. Beautiful, he whispers. So beautiful. The baby chooses that moment to kick hard enough that Vaugh feels it against his abdomen. His eyes widen in wonder, and before Sasha can feel self-conscious, he slides down her body, pressing his lips to the rounded curve of her belly in a kiss that feels like worship. Hello, little one, he murmurs against her skin. His hands frame her belly with tender reverence, thumbs stroking gentle circles. He continues his reverent exploration, pressing feather-like kisses across the taut skin of her belly before working his way back up to capture her lips once more. They're so lost in each other that neither hears the knock at the door. It's only when Mrs. Winter's voice cuts through the haze of desire that reality crashes back. Alpha, the Luna sent me to. Sasha jerks away from Vaugh, grabbing for her discarded blouse as Mrs. Winters averts her eyes. Leave us, Vaugh says, his arm still around Sasha's waist, clearly unwilling to let her go. I apologize for the intrusion, Alpha, Mrs. Winter says, eyes fixed firmly on the floor. But the Luna has requested Miss Sasha's presence immediately. She was most insistent. Avaux's arm tightens possessively. Shame and embarrassment flood through Sasha. What is she doing? He's the Alpha, she's a servant, pregnant with another man's child. I'll be right there, she says, slipping from Vaux's embrace. Sasha, he protests. You need to rest, she tells him, hastily buttoning her blouse. I'll be back with a healer. His expression is a mixture of frustration and resignation. If that's what you want. Sasha doesn't think it's fair how cute he looks when he pouts. What I want is for you to be well, she says, unable to resist pressing one more quick kiss to his lips before backing away. I won't be long. Mrs. Winters waits in the hallway, her expression carefully blank as Sasha emerges from the Alpha's chambers. Your blouse is buttoned incorrectly, she says quietly. Sasha flushed, attempting to smooth the tangled waves Vaux's eager hands had created. Miss Winters, You should be careful, Sasha, Mrs. Winters interrupts, meeting her gaze. Instead of judgment, it's worry Sasha finds in them. His mother will never allow it. Never, Mrs. Winters whispers warningly. I know, Sasha begins. But Miss Winters shushes her, grabbing her wrist warningly. She adores her son, Miss Winters says. She survived her mate's death for him, Sasha. She'd do anything for him. Miss Winters shakes her head with a troubled frown. The Luna wants what's best for Master Vaugh and for this pack. She had to fight tooth and nail to protect it. And you, a wolfess, pregnant servant, are not exactly what she envisions. If she finds out about you, she'll stop at nothing to get rid of you. Do you understand? The emphasis carries a weight Sasha can't quite decipher, but it sends a chill down her spine nonetheless. You should shower and change before seeing the Luna, Mrs. Winters adds, already steering her toward the servants' stairs. Quickly, 20 minutes later. Freshly showered and changed, Sasha stands outside Luna Alara's private office, heart still racing from what transpired in V's room. The memory of his touch, his taste, the way he'd looked at her, it all feels like a dream already. A dream that must remain just that. She reminds herself firmly. Whatever happened between them cannot happen again for both their sakes. Taking a deep breath, she knocks on the ornate door. Enter, Alara's voice calls. The Luna sits behind a massive desk, elegant as always in a pale blue dress that matches her ISV's eyes. Her smile when she sees Sasha is unexpected, almost warm. Sasha, thank you for coming so promptly. Luna, Sasha curtsies slightly, then pauses, uncertain how to bring up V's condition. Miss Winter had said she adores him. And Sasha believes it. She's V's mother, she needs to bring the news gently. I actually needed to speak with you, Sasha begins. I have wonderful news, Alara interrupts, her smile widening. Truly wonderful news. Sasha blinks, thrown off course. The father of your child has been found, Alara announces, cutting through Sasha's words like a knife through butter. Sasha freezes, certain she's misheard. What she whispers makes no sense. There is no father, at least none that she remembers. And now suddenly, there is a man who supposedly knows her well, or so it seems, as he's come forward. Alara continues, seemingly oblivious to Sasha's shock, smiling warmly as she gestures to an adjacent door. Would you like to meet him? Sasha stares at the man beside Luna Alara, struggling to process what's happening. He's tall, with light brown hair and warm eyes. Conventionally handsome, in an unremarkable way a complete stranger. So it's true, he murmurs, studying her with an odd mix of curiosity and resignation. Sasha, Alara says smoothly, this is Trevor Ellis, he's from the Southern Ridge Pack. Trevor offers a hesitant smile. Sasha. She searches his face for any flicker of recognition. Nothing. I don't understand, she says, her voice small. Alara steps beside her, placing a perfectly manicured hand on Sasha's shoulder. Vaugh and I have been investigating since you arrived, trying to locate the father of your child. Investigating, she repeats, as if it's the most natural thing in the world. You said you couldn't remember. But someone had to be responsible since you rarely left your aunt and uncle's house. We deduced it was likely someone who visited during an event. Alara's smile sharpens. Trevor fit the bill among a couple of other gentlemen. Trevor, Sasha shakes her head. I'm sorry, but no. He runs a hand through his hair. I was afraid of that. We were both pretty drunk that night. Drunk. The word feels wrong in her mouth. At your uncle's birthday celebration, Trevor explains. 6 months ago, you were in the kitchen drinking wine. A memory stirs her uncle's birthday, the suffocating main party. Escaping to the kitchen where the staff had been more welcoming. Someone had offered her wine, then another. I did drink that night, she admits slowly. I woke up with the worst hangover of my life. Trevor nods eagerly. Exactly. We snuck off to the gardens with a bottle of champagne, and we can all guess what happened. Alara interrupts, gesturing delicately at Sasha's rounded belly. The implication hangs in the air, her mysterious pregnancy. A drunken encounter with a stranger. Something doesn't feel right, a dissonance she can't explain, but it makes some sense. She had been drinking. She had struggled to remember details the next day. Trevor comes from a good, traditional family, Alara continues smoothly. He will do his duty, won't you, Trevor? He nods solemnly. We will prepare the mating ceremony hastily. My child will not be born without a father. The words hit Sasha like a physical blow. Mating ceremony, she echoes. As soon as possible, Alara says in a reassuring tone. We made it clear to Trevor's family what carrying this child, while unmated, has done to your reputation. It's unacceptable for you to suffer the consequences alone. It takes two to make a child. Trevor meets her gaze at last. You will be taken care of. His tone is flat, no warmth, no affection, just duty. Something inside Sasha shatters at the thought of binding herself for life to a man who views her as an obligation. Hurry along, Sasha, Alara says briskly. Pack your things. Pack, Sasha repeats, barely keeping up with how quickly her life is being rewritten. Your aunt and uncle have been informed. They're expecting you and Trevor at their estate in 2 days. His family will arrive for the mating ceremony. Alara's smile widens. I'd be delighted to host it. It's been such a pleasure having you here, and I'd love to honor your upcoming bond. She squeezes Sasha's hand, eyes gleaming with satisfaction. Oh, how relieved you must feel. It's no easy task raising a child alone. I should know. There's something in the way she says it, something pointed. As if Vaughn's name lingers unspoken in the space between them. I'll be waiting in the car, Trevor says, bowing slightly before leaving. Charming man, Alara exclaims once he's gone. Sasha suppresses a grimace. No need to thank me. Alara clasps her hand again. It's not, I mean, yes. Thank you, Sasha corrects quickly. But this isn't about that, it's Vaughn. Alara's hand tightens around hers, eyes flashing gold. What of him? Sasha blurts out. Her voice trembling. He's sick, very sick. Alara blinks in surprise. Sick, he never mentioned it. The guilt crashes over her, she should have told someone. Tears spill down Sasha's cheeks. I should have said something sooner. Alara's expression shifts, true concern flickering behind her usually polished mask. I don't understand. What's wrong with him? I don't know, Sasha sobs. He has migraines, tremors, and now he's feverish. Alara's face pales, her fingers loosening as if something crucial has clicked into place. Sasha wipes her tears, continuing. My mother died with similar symptoms. She had bonding sickness. As she speaks, her fingers instinctively reach for her collarbone, searching for something that isn't there, a gesture she's made countless times without understanding why. Alara's gaze sharpens, tracking the movement. She inhales sharply, then closes her eyes as if mentally calculating. A long, tense silence stretches between them. Then softly she says, All right. When she opens her eyes, her composure is restored. Thank you for telling me, Sasha. I'll take care of it. Sasha clings to the words. He's going to be okay. Something flickers in Alara's gaze. Yes, he will be. Don't worry. She brushes cool fingers against Sasha's cheek, an oddly intimate gesture that leaves her more confused than ever. May I see him before I go? The words slip out before Sasha can stop them. Alara shakes her head. That's not a good idea. He's quite attached to you. I don't think he should worry about your upcoming mating ceremony, not if he's sick. Don't you agree? Sasha nods reluctantly. Just this morning she'd been in his arm. His lips on hers, his hands worshipping her body. Now she was leaving forever. She might see him again, but it wouldn't be the same. It's all happening too fast. I will see you soon, Alara says brightly, pulling Sasha into an unexpected hug before gliding from the room, her heels clicking purposefully against the marble floor. Alone, Sasha sinks into a chair, her mind spinning. Trevor is the father. She is to mate with him. That means leaving Vaugh, not forever, of course. But it won't be the same. She forces herself to move, packing her few belongings. Every fiber of her being screams to see Vaugh one last time, to feel him again. But his mother is with him now, she'll take care of him. The baby kicks sharply. It's okay, Sasha whispers, rubbing her belly. We'll be okay. The words ring hollow. In the corridor, Helen spots her with her packed bag. Sasha, where are you going? They found him. Sasha forces a smile. The father of my baby. Helen's face lights up. That's wonderful. Who is he? Trevor Southernridge Pack. The words feel foreign. We're to be mated in 2 days. Helen clasps her hands together. That's everything you hoped for. The joy in her voice is too much. Sasha's composure breaks. Helen's smile falters. Sasha, what's wrong? Her about the alpha, isn't it? Sasha stiffens but doesn't answer. Oh, Sasha. Helen sighs. You've fallen for him. It's not a question, and Sasha doesn't bother pretending otherwise. I know it's foolish, she whispers. He's the alpha. And I'm, Helen says softly. Half the staff is in love with him. How could you not be when he's been so kind to you? Sasha interrupts, it's impossible. I have to bury these feelings. Helen nods, squeezing her hand. This Trevor, is he a good man? Sasha admits, he seems decent. Helen suggests gently, perhaps in time. You might build something real with him for your baby's sake. Sasha agrees, though her heart protests loudly. It's better this way for everyone. With a final squeeze of Helen's hand, she turns away, each step toward the grand entrance a stab to her broken heart. Vaugh awakens in darkness, his body burning, mind fractured with pain. The room spins even as he lies still. Someone sits beside him, his mother, her cool hand on his brow. Where's Sasha? He asks, his voice a rasp of its former strength. Yara's fingers still against his skin. She's gone, darling. Gone. He struggles to sit up, the movement sending daggers of pain through his skull. I have to find her. Lay down, Vaugh. His mother's tone is gentle but firm. You're too ill. She said she'd return, he insists, clinging to the memory of Sasha's lips against his. She's found the father, Alara says, adjusting the cool cloth on his forehead. The word feels wrong in his mouth. Of her child. She'll be mated later today. Vaugh slumps back against the pillows, the room tilting sickeningly around him. She wouldn't leave without saying goodbye. His mind flashes to their last moments together, her skin beneath his hands, her soft sighs, the way she'd looked at him with such tenderness. It had been real, he hadn't imagined it. As for the best, Alara continues, her voice soothing. They'll be a proper family. Something in her tone cuts through the fever's haze. Vaugh forces his eyes to focus on her face. What did you do? He asks, his voice steadier than he feels. A smile plays at the corners of her mouth. What's best, darling, always what's best for you. The room spins again. Nausea rising in his throat. I could be her family, he says, struggling once more to rise, but his limbs refuse to obey. No, you can't, Alara says, her voice hardening slightly. She's not for you. And besides, you're sick. Why didn't you tell me? The question triggers a memory, his mother in bed, pale and thin, forcing smiles whenever he visited her room, her worried glances when she thought he wasn't looking. The weight of her fear and stress had pressed against him like a physical presence, even as a child. I didn't want to burden you, he admits, the truth of it etching in his chest. Alara's expression softens. She brushes his hair back from his forehead, her touch unexpectedly tender. It's going to be okay, she tells him. I'm going to fix it. How? He asks, the word slurring slightly as another wave of dizziness washes over him. He doesn't even know what's wrong with him. How could his mother help? You have bonding sickness, she says simply. Impossible, he protests, though the room is beginning to fade around the edges. I don't have a mate. As his eyes slip closed, the darkness claims him once more. Sasha's face appears in his mind, her gray eyes, her gentle smile, the way she touched him as if he were something precious rather than powerful. I'll just have to get you one then. His mother's voice comes from far away. I only want Sasha, Vaugh murmurs, fighting to stay conscious. Hurrah, she says, the sound weighted with an emotion he can't identify. You always say that, but you don't mean it. The strange words pierce through his fading consciousness. Always, he tries to ask what she means, but darkness pulls him under once more. 2 days later, Sasha stands before the mirror, barely recognizing herself. The ceremonial white dress, borrowed from Rita's closet, pulls tight across her growing belly. In 2 hours, she'll be mated to Trevor Ellis, bound for life to a man she met 3 days ago. A tear slips down her cheek before she can stop it. followed by another and another. Stop that, Rita snaps, dabbing roughly at Sasha's face with a handkerchief. You'll ruin your makeup. Sorry, Sasha whispers, trying to compose herself. Her thoughts keep drifting to Vaugh, his smile, his touch, the way he'd looked at her that last day, as if she were something precious. Sasha, Rita says, well, blame it on the hormones. Pregnant women in this family get emotional. This gives Sasha pause. She rarely gets an opening like that with Aunt Rita. She has to take it. Was my mother emotional when she was pregnant with me? She asks carefully. Rita's hands still as she pins a flower into Sasha's hair. No, actually, she says after a moment. She was very happy. Pregnant, radiant, even, until she got me. What? Sasha mutters, reaching for her neckline, searching the empty space there. Why couldn't she live if she was happy with me? Rita looks away. It's nearly impossible to survive a broken bond. When your father left, she trails off, shaking her head. She fought it for your sake, but in the end, the sickness was stronger. Sasha thinks of Luna Alara, who survived after V's father died. What strength that must have taken. What will I have to be strong too? She says, straightening her shoulders. For my baby. I'm doing what's right, marrying the father of my child. Rita nods, something like discomfort flickering in her eyes. What is it? Sasha asks, noticing the change. Nothing, Rita says too quickly. Let's go. Everyone's waiting. Sasha takes one final look in the mirror, squaring her shoulders. This is what mothers do, she tells herself firmly. They sacrifice for their children. Her hand moves to her belly, feeling the baby shift beneath her palm. This child deserves everything. She never had a proper family. Security, legitimacy. It's time, Rita says softly. Sasha nods, drawing a deep breath. Whatever feelings she has for Vaugh must be buried now. He is the alpha, destined for a powerful mate who can stand beside him. Strengthen the pack, not a wolf's servant carrying another man's child. She was foolish to ever imagine otherwise. Trevor will provide for them. He may not love her, may never love her, but he is doing the honorable thing. Her hand reaches for the doorknob, mind already rehearsing the ceremonial words she'll speak soon. For my baby, she thinks, gripping the metal tightly. Rita's hand shoots out suddenly. Wet, she says, voice tight. Sasha turns toward her, confused. What is it? She asks. Something wrong with the dress. Rita's eyes close briefly, some internal struggle playing across her features. When she opens them again, determination has replaced doubt. You have to know, she says, words tumbling out in a rush, that Trevor isn't the father of your baby. Sasha stares at her aunt, the world seeming to stop around her. What did you just say? She whispers. Rita's expression shifts between guilt and resolution. But Sasha stammers. He said we were together that night at Uncle Carl's birthday. A story, a fabrication, Rita interrupts, suddenly looking tired. Luna Alara arranged the whole thing. Luna Alara, Sasha gasps. Why would she do that, and why would Trevor agree? Rita laughs a hollow sound. Money, of course. The Ellis family is respected but struggling financially. They received a substantial dowry to accept this arrangement. Her eyes flicked to Sasha's. As did we. The realization hit Sasha like a physical blow. She paid you to lie to me, to send me away. Carl wanted to accept immediately. Rita looks away. I had reservations. And yet you went along with it, Sasha says, anger rising through her confusion. Rita stands abruptly, pacing the small room. What choice did we have? The Luna of our pack ordered it. And besides, it's still best for you. How is lying to me about my child's father what's best for me? Sasha snaps. Your baby needs a father, Rita insists. Trevor is willing. He needs his father, Sasha interrupts, one hand pressed protectively against her belly. His real father who's still out there somewhere. Rita's face hardens. No one has come forward, Sasha. No wolf will have you a wolfess, nobody, carrying a child. Trevor is your only chance. If this is really what's best for me, Sasha says, her voice steady despite the tears threatening to fall. Then why did you feel I should know the truth? Why tell me now minutes before the ceremony? The question hangs in the air between them. Rita opens her mouth, then closes it, no answer forthcoming. In that silence something shifts inside Sasha. I'm not doing this, she says, reaching behind her to unzip the borrowed wedding dress. Rita's eyes widen. The Luna herself arranged this match, Sasha. You can't just run away the ceremony. The guests. Let Trevor explain to them why he was willing to claim a child that isn't his, Sasha says as she slips on her shoes. mind racing ahead. She needs to get back to Vaugh. He'll help her, she just knows it. He'll offer her and her baby protection. Unless Sasha freezes. She'd been telling herself that he was in good hands, being taken care of by Aurora. But what if she'd been wrong? Wrong. Aurora was a liar, a manipulator. Was she even trying to heal Vaugh? Rita grabs her arm as she moves toward the door. Sasha, please be sensible. Even if Trevor isn't the father. He's offering you security, respectability. Based on lies, Sasha snaps, pulling free. Aunt Rita, all my life I've been told I'm worthless because I'm wolfless. That I should be grateful for whatever scraps of kindness come my way. She straightens her shoulders. I'm done accepting less than I deserve. And so is my baby. She slips through the door and down the hall, her heart pounding against her ribs. Voices drift up from downstairs. Trevor's family. The efficient guests arriving for the ceremony. She turns toward the back staircase instead. The servants' rote she knows from childhood. The kitchen is mercifully empty as she slips through it and out the back door. The late afternoon sun bathes the garden in golden light as she breaks into a run, one hand supporting her belly. She has no plan beyond escape, but her feet carry her toward the road, mind fixed on a single goal: return to Vaugh. A car sits idling at the side of the road, engine running, as Sasha approaches. The door swings open to reveal the blonde woman from before, the one who's been following her. She's back, finally, the woman calls, urgency in her voice. Sasha gapes because, out of all the people she'd expected to have to face in order to escape, she hadn't been thinking of her stalker. I don't have time for this, she mutters, turning away. Leave me alone, the woman honks. Get your butt inside the car, she snaps. Your boyfriend is dying, and we don't have much time. Sasha freezes mid-step, turning back to the blonde woman. Listen, she says, voice low and dangerous. I don't know who you are or what you want from me. But I swear if I ever see you following me again, you won't get away so easily. The threat hangs in the air, but beneath her fierce exterior, Sasha's heart hammers uncomfortably. Fine. Not a boyfriend, your mate. Whatever. The blonde rolls her eyes. You want to save him or not? Sasha frowns, shaking her head in confusion. I don't have a mate, she chokes out, the words feeling strangely bitter on her tongue. Then how do you explain this? The blonde gestures toward Sasha's rounded belly. Instinctively, Sasha's hands move to cradle her stomach. She looks down at the swell of her child, then back up, heart racing wildly. You know who my child's father is? She asks, voice breaking with sudden emotion. Oh, come on, the blonde throws her head back in exasperation. Don't you? The question strikes something deep within Sasha, a truth she's been circling for months, drawing closer with each interaction, each unexplainable moment of connection. It's Vaugh, she whispers, the realization washing over her like a wave. Vaughn's the father. Yap. The blonde nods with a satisfied smirk. Though if you'd like him to teach your kid how to hunt or whatever it is you shifters do, I'd get in the car if I were you. Shouts erupt from behind them, Trevor's voice, followed by Uncle Carl's angry bellowing. They've spotted her. Discovered her absence. Sasha slides into the passenger seat, pulling the door closed as the blonde accelerates away from the curb. Who are you? Sasha demands, adrenaline still coursing through her system. Why are you helping me? She notices now that the woman's head is bandaged, and the wrist resting on the steering wheel is wrapped in a brace the same hand Vaughn's guard had twisted just days ago. You're hurt, she observes, guilt pricking at her conscience. The woman shrugs dismissively. My name is Iris, she says, turning onto the main road. Sate belt. Sasha complains, mind racing to keep pace with these revelations. You've been following me around, she says, fingers automatically reaching for her collarbone in that habitual searching gesture. Why? I wasn't sure at first, Iris replies, eyes fixed on the road. I had to be certain it was you. I never actually saw you or your mate before all this. Iris grimaces at the term but continues. But I saw his mother that night. She only has one son and well, seeing how he keeps ogling you, I figured you had to be his lost mate. A blush creeps up Sasha's cheeks at the word ogling, but confusion dominates her thoughts. Sorry, but you're not making a whole lot of sense. Iris groans, accelerating through a yellow light. Right, okay, so let's make it simple. I work for a magician, a very powerful one, kind of unlimitedly powerful. He grants wishes. Wishes, Sasha interrupts, bewildered. Iris shoots her an annoyed glance. Are you going to keep interrupting me every couple of words? Sorry, Sasha mumbles. Iris takes a deep breath before continuing. My employer, the magician, grants wishes. When someone comes to him with a wish, whatever it is, he makes it come true. In fact, he has to. He can't say no. Sash tries to wrap her mind around this impossible concept. When you say he can't say no, what do you mean? I mean, Iris says, taking a sharp turn that makes Sasha grab the door handle. When someone asks him to grant a wish, his magic just does it, and the wish gets granted. Adrian, she clarifies, referring to the magician, can't help it. He can't control it. It just happens. Iris nods, her knuckles whitening on the steering wheel. Bottom line is, when your mother-in-law came to see him with a wish, he had to obey her. Do you understand? A chill runs down Sasha's spine. Wait, so you're saying Alara made a wish to your magician boss? Precisely, Iris says, her voice dropping lower. It was nighttime when she came in. I wasn't supposed to hear her make the wish, but I did. She casts a sidelong glance at Sasha before continuing. She wished for her son to forget all about his bond with his, and I quote, wolfish mate. I've never seen you shift once in all the time I've been stalking you. I'm guessing you can't. Sasha nods numbly, her mind reeling. And I were mates, she asks, voice shaking. We had a bond. You did it, Iris confirms. You just don't remember. Nobody does, save for Vaugh's mother, myself, and Adrian. Emotions crash through Sasha like a storm: joy, anger, betrayal, heartbreak. I can't believe she did that, she whispers, hands clenched protectively around her belly. To Vaugh, to me, to the baby. Iris gives her another glance. About that, she says, turning onto a quieter road. That's where things kind of took a turn. Your in-law didn't know about the baby. So at no point when she made her wish did she think of mentioning it. And so, despite everyone forgetting about your bond, the baby stayed. Her grip tightens on the wheel. When Alara found out about the pregnancy, she was furious. She returned to see Adrian, asking him to fix it. Sasha pales, hands spreading protectively over her belly. Surely you don't mean. I don't exactly know what she meant by that either, Iris admits. But what I do know is that Adrian is only able to grant one wish per person, and he'd already granted hers. So he did nothing else. Oh, how generous of him, Sasha snaps, anger rising hot and swift. How kind of him to spare my child after ruining all our lives. Your mother-in-law ruined your lives, Iris retorts sharply. She chose to make the wish. She chose to separate you from your mate. Adrian, unlike her, has no choice. He could choose to end it, Sasha fires back. Iris slams on the brakes, bringing the car to a sudden halt on the shoulder of the road. She turns to Sasha with a glare that could freeze blood. He tried that, she says, voice dangerously quiet. Multiple times. But he is immortal. Death doesn't stick. Something in her tone, the coldness, the pain, makes Sasha feel a twinge of regret. This girl is trying to help her after all. Did he send you here? Sasha asks, softer now. Iris shakes her head, starting the car again. No. He's not supposed to intervene unless you come to him with a wish. There's nothing he can do. She quickly adds, reading Sasha's expression. And I don't suggest you do that. Making a wish has a price. What you love most. Sasha's blood runs cold. Thoughts immediately turn to Vaugh. Is that why he's dying? Because he's what his mother loves most. No, that's not how it works, Iris explains. The price is never someone's life. Otherwise, no one would ever make a wish it would guarantee either them or a loved one dying. Clients have to be very clear on the rules for the contract to work. Sasha nods, setting aside the confusing magic rules. None of that matters right now. So it is bonding sickness then, she whispers. It's because we've been separated, Iris confirms. That's what Adrian told her. You're fine right now because you carry a piece of your mate with you, the baby. She glances pointedly at Sasha's belly as if she might have misunderstood. The moment you give birth, you'll start feeling sick as well, she continues. Unless you take a mate. Same for Vaugh. Understanding clicks into place. This explains why Alara has been so desperate to see both Vaugh and Sasha mated to others. For you, there may be a chance. Iris explains as they accelerate toward the outskirts of town. You could potentially mate with someone else and survive, but for Vaugh, it's different. Having been near you and the baby again, his body recognizes you as his mate now. Either he mates with you again, or he dies, and Alara knows this. Sasha listens, horror mounting. Adrian tried to warn her, but she refused to listen, insisting there had to be another way. Iris's expression darkens. Ever since, Adrian has been consumed by guilt. So I thought I'd take matters into my own hands, she adds. Sasha studies the younger woman's profile. You're doing all this for him. Iris shrugs, though a faint blush colors her cheeks. Let's call it a kill two birds with one stone kind of situation. The Alpha's estate looms on the horizon, its silhouette both welcoming and menacing. Iris pulls up short of the gates. I can't go any closer, she says. And I doubt your mate's guards will be thrilled to see me again. As Sasha prepares to leave, Iris reaches into her pocket and pulls out a small silver pendant on a chain. She presses it into Sasha's palm. It's a charm Adrian made for me for protection against other shifters. If someone truly means to harm you, it will activate and defend you. Sasha stares at the delicate pendant. Why would you give me this? Iris avoids her gaze. Just in case Luna Alara might not be happy to see you. Thank you, Sasha says, genuinely moved. She slips the pendant around her neck, letting it rest against her collarbone, filling the empty space she's been touching for months. Now go, Iris urges, heart pounding. Sasha nods and steps out into the fading daylight. As Iris's car disappears down the road, Sasha turns toward the mansion, determination hardening within her. Sasha's heart pounds against her ribs as she presses her back against the wall, watching two guards pass the alcove where Helen has hidden them. Their voices fade down the corridor, and Helen signals it's safe to move. The Alpha's condition has worsened, Helen whispers, leading Sasha through a narrow service passage. Mrs. Winter says he hasn't woken since yesterday. They've brought in healers from 3 territories, and none of them can help him. Not with bonding sickness, Sasha mutters grimly. Helen shoots her a questioning glance but doesn't press further. Miss Winters is creating a distraction in the East Wing. We have maybe 10 minutes. They reach a panel in the wall that Helen slides open with practiced ease. Sasha squeezes her friend's hand in silent thanks before moving silently toward the partially open door leading to V's bedroom. Voices drift through the gap, Luna Alara's commanding tone and another female voice responding uncertainly. He needs this, Alara insists. The bond will save him. You said yourself you felt drawn to him at the reception. Yes, but, the second voice hesitates. He's unconscious, Luna. It doesn't feel right. To force it, Alara interrupts sharply. This is a mating of necessity, not romance. The healers have done all they can. This is our last option. Sasha edges closer to the door, peering through the narrow opening. The scene before her sends ice through her veins. Vaugh lies motionless on the massive bed, his skin ashen, his breathing so shallow it's barely visible. Beside him kneels a woman Sasha recognizes from the mating reception, the red-haired daughter of an allied Pax Alpha. Behind them stands Alara, perfectly composed, save for the tension around her eyes. Do it now, Alara commands. Bite him. Create the bond. When he wakes, he'll return the mark. The redhead hesitates, uncertainty clear in every line of her body. Luna, I don't know if... No, he won't, Sasha says, pushing the door fully open and stepping into the room. Both women whirl toward her, shock etched on their faces. You, Alara gasps, recovering first. What are you doing here? How did you get in? Step away from him, Sasha says to the redhead, ignoring Alara's questions. The woman rises slowly, clearly confused by this interruption. Guards, Alara calls sharply, but her voice lacks its usual authority. They won't hear you, Sasha tells her, moving further into the room. Winters made sure of that. Alara's eyes narrow dangerously. More traitors in my house then, I should have known. Not traitors, Sasha counters. People who care about Vaugh, who don't want to see him die because of your pride. The redhead glances between them, sensing the undercurrents. What's happening? She asks. Luna, who is this? No one, Alara says dismissively. A servant who's forgotten her place. I'm his mate. Her voice steady and sure. I'm carrying the Alpha's hair. The woman's eyes widen, dropping to Sasha's rounded belly. Luna, she asks, seeking confirmation or denial. Leave us, Alara commands sharply. The redhead hesitates, clearly torn. Alpha Vong is dying, she says finally. If there's any chance she can help him. Out, Alara snaps, eyes flashing gold. The woman flinches. With a final glance at Sasha, she moves toward the door. I hope you're right, she says quietly as she passes. For his sake. When the door closes behind her, Sasha and Alara face each other across Vaugh's prone form, two women connected by love for the same man, divided by everything else. How did you find out? Alara asks, her voice dangerously soft. Does it matter? Sasha counters, moving closer to the bed. What matters is that I know what you did. I know you made a wish that tore us apart, that made us forget each other. Alara's eyes widen slightly. Why? Sasha asks, her voice breaking. Why would you do something so cruel? Do you really hate the idea of having a wolfish girl as a daughter-in-law so much? Something shifts in Alara's expression, pain breaking through her perfect mask. Hate you, she repeats, sounding genuinely surprised. You think that's what this was about? What else could it be? Sasha challenges. Alara moves to the window, moonlight silvering her platinum hair. I watched you both grow up, she says quietly. I saw how you looked at each other, even as children. The bond between you and Vaugh was undeniable. The way he shielded you from bullies, the way you calmed him when his temper flared, these moments are etched in memory. Alara turns to face Sasha, her eyes shimmering with unshed tears. I'm not heartless, Sasha. I see your qualities, your kindness, your quiet strength, the way you make my son laugh like no one else can. The unexpected acknowledgement catches Sasha off guard. She had braced herself for denial, for contempt, not recognition. Then why? Sasha asks, genuinely perplexed. Why separate us? Because you're not strong enough, Alara replies, her words landing like stones. You would be a weakness to Vaugh. Others would come after you to get to him. What others? Sasha challenges. We're not at war with anyone. Because our power is secured, Alara retorts sharply. It wouldn't be if you became Luna. She steps closer, her composure cracking further. Do you have any idea what happens to a pack with a vulnerable Luna? The challenges, the threats, the constant tests of strength, seen packs torn apart when a strong alpha chooses a weak mate. I'm not weak, Sasha insists, though uncertainty edges into her voice. Not in spirit, no, Alara concedes. But physically, politically, as a wolfess, as a female, you would make Vaugh vulnerable. Every rival pack, every ambitious wolf, would see you as his weakness, a way to get to him. They'd come for you, for your child. Her voice falters slightly. I know what it's like to lose a mate, Sasha. I would never wish that pain on my son, to have his heart walking outside his body, unprotected. The raw emotion in Alara's voice gives Sasha pause. For the first time she sees beyond the poised, perfect Luna to the grieving widow, the fiercely protective mother. But a glance at Vaugh, deathly still on the bed, hardens her resolve. It's too late for these concerns, Sasha says urgently. He's dying now, Alara. Only I can save him. Alara shakes her head, desperation creeping into her tone. No, you're wrong. He'll survive it. I did. Because you had him, Sasha counters, understanding dawning. You survived for him, because you had a reason, because you were his mother. But Vaugh doesn't have his baby yet. He won't have the same incentive. Tears spill down Alara's perfect cheeks. Condemn him now or later, she whispers, shaking her head. Either way, I lose him. Please, Sasha pleads, stepping forward to grip Alara's hand. I can save him. Let me. Alara stares at their joined hands, hers pale and elegant, Sasha's smaller, but surprisingly strong in that touch. Something passes between them. A shared love for Vaugh, a shared fear of loss. If I let you do this, Alara says finally, if I accept you as Luna, you must understand what you're facing, the dangers, the responsibilities. It isn't a fairy tale, Sasha. It's a life of constant vigilance, constant strength. Can you promise me you'll protect him as fiercely as I have? The question hangs heavy between them, weighted with decades of Alara's sacrifice and pain. I will, Sasha vows, her voice unwavering. With everything I am, with everything I have, I will protect him and our child. Something in her conviction reaches Alara. The older woman's shoulders slump slightly, and she steps aside, creating a path to Vaugh's bedside. Save him, she whispers, heart pounding. Sasha rushes to V's side. Up close, his condition is worse than she feared. His skin is cold to the touch, his lips tinged blue, his breathing so shallow she can barely detect it. Vaughn, she whispers, taking his limp hand in hers. I'm here. I've come back. His fingers remain motionless in her grip, no response, not even a flicker of his eyelids. Please, she begs, tears spilling down her cheeks. Come back to me. Come back to us. She places his hand against her belly, where their child rests. Nothing. Fear clenches around her heart. What if she's too late? What if the bond is too damaged to repair? I don't know if this will work, she admits, glancing back at Arara, who watches from the foot of the bed, face taut with equal fear. It must, Arara says simply. Drawing a steadying breath, Sasha leans down until her lips brush V's ear. I'm sorry I forgot you, she whispers. I'm sorry I left. But I'm here now and I'm not leaving again. Then, following instinct rather than knowledge, she tilts his head gently to expose the vulnerable curve where neck meets shoulder, the place where mates leave their mark. She hesitates only a moment before pressing her lips to the spot. Then, with a silent prayer, allows her blunt human teeth to break his skin. The taste of his blood is copper and salt on her tongue, but something else flows with it, a current of energy, of connection. The dormant bond flares to life, warmth spreading from the point of contact up her spine, through her chest, into her very core. Memories flash behind her closed eyelids, not clear images, but impressions, feelings, warmth, safety, belonging, love so profound it transcends conscious thought. But the connection feels one-sided, flowing from her into him without reciprocation. His side of the bond remains cold, unresponsive. Come back, Vaugh, she pleads against his skin. Your child needs you. Even if I'm not strong enough to be your Luna, even if something ends up happening to me, it'll be okay because you'll have each other. The room falls into tense silence, broken only by Sasha's quiet sobs as she clings to V's unresponsive form. Arara moves to the window, unable to watch, her shoulders shaking with silent grief. Then, so subtle Sasha almost misses it, V's fingers twitch against her belly. She pulls back slightly, hardly daring to hope. Vaugh. His eyelids flutter, then slowly open, revealing blue eyes clouded with confusion. 3 months later, Alara sits alone in her chambers, listening to the distant sounds of activity from the east wing upstairs. Sasha is giving birth to her grandchild, her son's heir. The fire crackles in the hearth, the only movement in her still room. Outside, rain taps against windows. Under similar skies, she had given birth to Vaugh. She closes her eyes, allowing herself to remember. The pain had been excruciating but bearable, with Xavier beside her, her mate, her alpha, his hand in hers, his scent enveloping her. You're the strongest wolf I know, he told her as he placed their newborn son in her arms. My perfect Luna. She barely remembers the months after his death, lying in her bed, staring at walls, drowning in the fractured bond that throbbed like an open wound. Her memories of that time exist in fragments, the taste of tears, the scent of grief, the sound of her own breath, each inhale a betrayal to the mate, who would never breathe again. She doesn't recall where Vaugh was during those months, though she knows he turned 10 without either parent present. What she does remember is how he would come to her at night, climbing into her bed without a word, his small body pressed against hers. She would hold him, nose buried in his hair, desperately searching for traces of his father's scent in his youthful skin. When she finally rose from her grief, however, she remembers him being cheerful, accommodating, perfect. Everything was always fine, always good. It wasn't until much later that she understood what he had been doing, protecting her from further pain, carrying his own grief in silence so as not to add to hers. Alara realizes now she has no idea when or how her son mourned his father. What she does remember with crystal clarity is the first time she saw the girl Sasha, 12 years old, all limbs and messy black hair, standing in her garden with Vaugh. She'd prided herself on knowing all of Vaugh's friends because she'd vetted them carefully, ensuring they were from good families with proper upbringings. Children of pack loyalists. She didn't know this girl and had certainly never approved a wolfish friend for her son. From her study window, she watched as Vaugh paced furiously, ranting about something while the girl listened. It's not fair, how they treat you, Vaugh had said. I'll make them stop when I'm alpha. But it's true, Sasha interrupted, her voice soft but clear enough to reach Alara's ears. I don't have a wolf, and my dad did leave because of it. That doesn't make it right. Vaugh insisted, his adolescent voice cracking with emotion. Sasha simply shrugged, reaching out to squeeze his hand. I'm just happy I have you. The simple statement stopped Vaugh's tirade instantly. His shoulders dropped, anger giving way to something softer, more vulnerable. Later, Alara questioned Mrs. Winters, who confessed she'd known about Sasha, a servant girl, with no parents and no wolf, whom Vaugh had met during a reception at the girl's uncle's estate. I allowed the friendship because, frankly, she's his only real friend and he needs one, Mrs. Winters admitted. Vaugh has many friends, Alara argued. No, Luna. He has subjects, future lords he'll preside over, and he knows it. Mrs. Winter's gaze was direct, uncomfortably so. Sasha is different because she's not from his world. He can be himself with her. He can cry in front of her, grieve. The word struck Alara like a physical blow. Grieve. Had her son been grieving all this time? Silently beside her but unreachable. Guilt compelled her to allow the friendship, but she came to regret it as the years passed. What had begun as friendship transformed before her eyes into something far deeper, far more complicated than she could have anticipated. Something deeper was evident in the way V's eyes followed Sasha across rooms, the way his scent shifted when she entered a space. Then there was the tooth V's first, lost in combat training when he was Svertset. Pack tradition dictated that a wolf's first fallen tooth was a gift for someone special, typically their mother. As Luna, Alara had expected to receive this token of respect. Instead, a week after the training bout, she'd spotted a silver chain around Sasha's neck during one of the girls' visits. Hanging from it was V's tooth, polished to a pearly sheen and wrapped in intricate silver wire. The sight had stopped Alara mid-sentence. Her son had literally given part of himself to a girl. With no place in the future, she'd planned for him a girl he clearly loved more than tradition, more than duty, perhaps even more than her. V never asked for her permission to take Sasha as his mate, as if her approval didn't matter, as if what existed between them belonged only to them. Perhaps it did. The door to her chambers opened suddenly, jarring Alara from her memories. Vaugh stood in the doorway, his tall frame silhouetted against the corridor light. He looked exhausted but exhilarated, his eyes bright with an emotion she hadn't seen in him since childhood. "Vaugh," she said, rising to her feet. "How is Sasha?" "She is well," he replied. "She has given birth to our son, her grandson." "May I see him?" she asked, taking a hesitant step forward. V's expression didn't change, but something in his eyes hardened. "No," he said simply, turning to leave. Alara tensed, remembering the magician Adrian, his strange green eyes watching her as she spoke her wish. The terms of their agreement, the price she would pay. "Your heart's desire will cost what you value most," he'd told her. She'd assumed it would be her status, her authority, perhaps even her health. But what she paid was her son's love. "Wait," Alara called. She moved to her dresser, opening the top drawer to remove a small wooden box. "I have something that belongs to Sasha." Vaugh paused, suspicion evident in his stance. Alara opened, revealing a silver chain with a polished wolf's tooth wrapped in intricate wire. "I took this from her the night I made my wish." I noticed her reaching for it without knowing why. Vaugh took the necklace, his fingers closing around it slowly. There was no recognition on his face. "Give it back to her," Alara said. "Tell her," she hesitated, emotion threatening to overwhelm her carefully maintained composure. "Tell her I'm sorry." For a moment, something like his old warmth flickered in his gaze, but it was gone in an instant. The door closed behind him with a soft click, and Alara was alone once more. 5 years later, the soft cries of a newborn filled the room as Sasha cradled her daughter against her chest. 3 hours old, with a dusting of dark hair and impossibly tiny fingers that curled around Sasha's thumb with surprising strength. "She's perfect," Vaugh whispered, perched on the edge of the bed beside them. His finger gently traced their daughter's cheek. "Just like her mother," Sasha smiled up at him. Him exhausted but radiant. "What shall we name her?" They had talked about names for months but never settled on one, preferring to wait until they met their child. "Melon," Vaugh suggests. "Emmeline," Sasha repeats tearfully. "Yes, it feels right." Outside the window, laughter drifts up from the gardens. Their sons, 5-year-old Xavier, named after his grandfather, and 3-year-old Jude, are chasing each other around a fountain. Their excited shrieks are punctuated by a woman's gentle admonishments. "Ila." Sasha watches as her mother-in-law catches Jude as he trips, setting him back on his feet with practiced ease. Unlike his older brother, Jude hasn't shown signs of being able to shift his wolf as dormant as Sasha has always been. This shared trait has forged a special bond between mother and son, and between grandson and grandmother, who treats Jude's wolflessness not as a flaw but as a different kind of strength. "She's good with them," Sasha observes. Vaugh makes a non-committal sound, his eyes fixed on the scene below. "Do you ever wonder," he asks carefully, "what it would be like if we remembered growing up together? Falling in love the first time, Sasha considers this. Sometimes, she admits, it feels strange to know we have this whole history together that's just gone. But we've made new memories. She points out, 3 of them actually. She nods toward the window where their sons play, then down at the bundle in her arms. Vaugh's expression softens as he leans down to place a kiss on Melane's forehead, then one on Sasha's lips. Yes, we have. Since that night when Sasha claimed Vaugh, saving him from bonding sickness and reclaiming her place as his mate. As Luna, she leads the pack alongside Vaugh, proving daily that strength comes in many forms. I'm going to check on the boys, Vaugh says, pressing another kiss to her temple. You should rest. After he leaves, Sasha turns her attention back to the window. Alara now sits on a stone bench, both boys on her lap as she reads to them from a leather-bound book. It had been Sasha who insisted the children know their grandmother. Enough pain has been caused, she told Vaugh after Jude was born. They deserve to know her, and she deserves the chance to love them. Vaugh had reluctantly agreed. For Sasha's sake more than Alara's. He's civil with his mother, even cordial on good days, but the easy warmth that once existed between them remains fractured. For her part, Alara has accepted her diminished role with quiet dignity. He used to be so angry, Alara had confided to Sasha once, watching a younger Vavier toddle across the lawn after his father died. It was you who helped him through it. Sasha treasures these glimpses into their forgotten past through Alara's stories. She and Vaugh recover fragments of who they were, like picking up scattered puzzle pieces of a picture they'll never fully see again. A soft knock at the door draws her attention. Vaugh enters, carrying Jude. Someone wanted to meet his sister, he explains, settling him on the bed beside her. Jude peers curiously at the bundle in Sasha's arms. She's really small, he observes, reaching out one careful finger to touch her hand. You were that small once too, Sasha tells him, brushing his dark hair back from his forehead. Was not, he protests, but his attention is already captured by his new sister. Vaugh watches them, something like wonder in his eyes. I never thought I'd have this, he admits softly. A family. Children. You deserve it all, Sasha tells him. Xavier bursts into the room then, followed by Alara who hovers in the doorway, uncertain of her welcome. Come in, Luna, Sasha calls. Meet your granddaughter. Alara approaches cautiously, her eyes seeking V's permission. After a moment's hesitation, he nods slightly. Melon, Sasha says, angling the baby so Alara can see her face. After my mother. She's beautiful, Alara says, her voice thick with emotion. She has your eyes, Sasha, and V's stubbornness, Sasha adds with a tired smile. She took her time arriving. Alara laughs softly. That she gets from both of you. V's arm slips around Sasha's shoulders, drawing her closer. For a moment, they're simply a family, imperfect but together. Later, when the children have been settled and Alara has tactfully withdrawn, Vaugh returns to find Sasha nursing their daughter. He stands in the doorway, watching them, love evident in every line of his body. I hope they always carry happy memories of us, Sasha says, looking up to meet his gaze. Or children. Vaugh crosses to join them, sliding into bed beside her. They will, he promises. We'll make sure of it. He kisses her then. Slow and sweet, a reaffirmation of everything they've built together, everything they've overcome. Their bond pulses between them, stronger than magic, stronger than memory, a connection that transcends the past they've lost and embraces the future they're creating.